Well, hey there everyone. So I need a bit of a quicker project this week and a bit of a project that brings me joy. So that means I'm making another corset. So I was scrolling on Pinterest looking for ideas to do this week, and I happened upon a bunch of like mossy corsets, and I really wanted to make one. So that's what we're gonna do. So pretty much my idea is, so remember when I was making my Tinkerbell costume and I completely screwed up the dyeing? And it turned out kind of brown. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that stuff because I said I was gonna use it and I'm not gonna waste it. So it came out like a pinky brown, which I think is okay, but the reason I wanted to use this is I was probably gonna use that pattern anyways, which was the Anna corset pattern, which I use for a lot of my corsets. So, and it's already cut out, so I might as well just go ahead and use it. So that's going to be the structure of the bodice, and then I'm going to put like moss all over it. And then yesterday as well, I had made these like little mushrooms out of hot glue that I can just glue on to little pieces of the corset, and then I can like paint little wood grains on it. So that's going to be the corset idea. And then I also had a small little hyperfixation, and in addition to this costume, I'm going to make little like metal elf ears. I don't know, I'll just throw up some examples because I think that'd be a cute little element to this. So I have that stuff coming in tomorrow. So today we're just going to put the corset together and hopefully finish that up, and then hopefully by tomorrow I will start gluing everything on and painting and everything and get the wire ears done. So like I said, a bit of a quick project. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this out of the bag and probably iron it, and then I can throw this corset together. So for both the lining and the outer fabric of this corset, we're going to do the same thing we've done a million times with this corset, and we're going to place all of the pieces right sides together and then sew them all down. So starting with the two side front pieces, we're going to pin those down, and then the side pieces, and then the back pieces. Then once both of those are sewn and ironed, we can place them both right sides together and sew them all the way around except for the bottom. And then from there, the corners get clipped and the curves also get clipped, and then we can turn it right sides out and iron it. From there, I'm going to go ahead and add my boning channels. So I'm going to put 2 structural ones in the back and then 2 along each side of the seams. And then the front is also going to get 3 bonings to give it a little bit more structure up front. And then once the boning was in, I thankfully dyed a strip of fabric that I could use to make the bias tape for this. So I made the bias tape, and then I'm just going to sew it along the bottom, and then I'm going to add the grommets, and the base of this corset is done. Alright, it is day 2, and we're moving along swiftly. So I did get the mane of the corset done yesterday. So that was, I feel, the biggest part. So now all I have to do is, I think what I'm going to do is paint on some like brown wood grains to give it... That's my sister's dog. to give it more of like a brown look, because this is more of a pink than it is brown. And I kind of wanted to give it a woody look. So I'm going to paint some wood grains on this with brown, and then maybe do some highlights and a little bit of gold paint. And then from there, I can just glue on some moss that I bought, and then the mushrooms that I made out of hot glue. And then the corset will be done. And then today I do have coming in the wires for the ears. So as soon as those get in, then I can try and attempt to do the elf ears. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have left today. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, like I mentioned, I had made these little mushrooms out of hot glue. So basically what you'll see me doing is on a piece of parchment paper, which is important so I can peel the hot glue up, I'm going to glue just like strips of hot glue, and then I'm going to glue little dollops of hot glue, and then that'll be the stems and the cap of the mushroom. After those separate pieces dry, then I can glue the cap onto the stem of the mushroom. And then the stem and the bottom of the mushrooms get painted white, and then the top gets painted red, and then I'm just going to put little white dots all over these mushrooms, and they're ready to be glued onto the corset. Now for the wood grain of this, I did mark it out with tailor's chalk just to get an idea of what I wanted the wood grain to look like, and then I just painted it with brown acrylic paint. And then I was going to do some gold highlights, but then I decided that I didn't really want to do that, so I'm just sticking to the brown. Now it's time to glue on the mushrooms and the moss. So I just kind of placed out where I wanted them to be, and then I put a whole heap of hot glue and just mushed down the moss, and then I placed the mushrooms again with hot glue. And then once the corset was done, it was time to move on to the elf ears. So I tried a bunch of styles of elf ears and none of them really worked out for me, and I was about to give up, but I didn't. So instead what I did was I did find a video, which I will link down in the description, of how to do the specific kind of winged metal ear. So basically what you'll see me doing is I just take a long wire and I will end up curving that wire into a bunch of different wing forms, and that eventually makes the ear. Again, if you want a more detailed video on it, go look at the video in the description. That gives a step-by-step process of it. Now, unlike the video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add little beads. So I did order a big thing of beads. Then I'm going to take a smaller wire and then just loop around the outside of this little wing, and then every like 2 loops I will add a bead until I reach the end of the wing, and then I'll add that to the second wing down, and then these wings are done and we're ready for the final look. I stink. Yeah. Okay. I feel like a little like Woodlands fairy in this fit. Like I could definitely see myself prancing around the Ren Fair, especially with my little acorn bag. Yeah, this is just so fun to like twirl and dance in, especially since the skirt is so flowy and like big. And I think the top turned out really good. I'm glad I was able to actually use this top because like I said, it was the screw up from the Tinkerbell top when I tried to dye it green and it ended up brown. So I was glad to finally get that out of the way and I reused something. Yeah, and again, it just wasn't as brown as I wanted it to be and I didn't have time or the dye to re-dye it. So I think it was fine, but adding the brown like wood grains I think really fixed it up. But let me tell you, this moss is everywhere. I will probably be finding this moss for like months. Anywhere I set this top down, moss gets. It's a disaster, but I think it still looks really good. And the mushrooms I think turned out really good too. Like, I'm glad I didn't do clay. Yeah, babe. Oh yeah. I'm glad I didn't do like clay or anything for them because one, you can barely see them, and two, they're just a lot lighter in hot glue. So I'm glad I didn't like spend too much time and attention on them, but I'm glad that I did do them because I think it just looks like adds to the little moss core, mushroom core top of this outfit. Yeah, if I were to change anything, I think I would make the top just a teensy-weensy bit tighter. I did have to adjust it and make it tighter already, so I just wish I adjusted it a little bit more. But other than that, I think it fits really good. I am wearing like my stays under this to help with some support. But aside from that, I think it turned out really good. So yeah, thank you for joining me for a quick little joy project this week. I will likely be off next week because it's Thanksgiving, family will be in town, so I will not be posting next week, but I should be back the week after, unless I need some social battery recharge time, which might be very likely. Oh yeah, and I did give my older sister her DM board for my last video. She loved it, absolutely loved it, so I'm really glad that I made that for her then. I tried to have her guess what it was based on the clues I gave her, and she came nowhere close. So I think it was a really good, unique gift, and it just turned out so good. And I really want one, but I'm not a dungeon master, so I really have no use for one. But yeah, so that turned out really good. Oh yeah, and the ears. I keep forgetting because they're not in front of my face. I think the ears turned out really good too. I almost gave up. I tried to do some other styles of ears, and it just did not work. And then I came across this one video, which again I will link down in the description, for how to do these style ears, but without the beads. The beads I figured out on my own, but I think they turned out really good, and I like the little green bead element with them too. They're not exactly elf ears like I said I would do before, but they're ears nonetheless. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you want to see more of. So all you need to do, if you like what I did, go and like and subscribe. I post most Saturdays, mostly at noon, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.